They say you got to be hitting double hitters here, and it's already exhausting, if you know what I mean. So yes, so we are here. We are live. I look like I have a funky bun here. All right, just had one eye surgery. Okay, no date night. Yeah, probably not a good idea. That's dating with a limitation, and your limitation is that. Thank you for loving my authenticity. Oh, it's good to see you, by the way. That was my therapist. She's amazing. Not a therapist. She's more like a holistic coach, I think that'd be a better way to say it. Okay, dating with limitations, never a good idea. A lot of you have limitations. You're too busy with your kids. You don't have the money. You should be, you're not in health and wellness yet. Physically fit. I mean, it is summer's coming, you guys. You got to get fit. We got our skin again. We got to start. I've been running more. I've been working on this shoulder issue, but let me talk about what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to bring up Matchmaker Diaries, talking about my clients, kind of, where everyone's at on the ladder of dating relationships. You'll want a little update from last week. Remember, we talked about men and how they're a little passive. And then my client totally called this woman and just declared his love for her. So you're going to want to hear about that. As a matter of fact, I see not that Anthony. Good to see you, Anthony. And oh my gosh, Gentleman's Avenue, Mr. Style himself. Anthony, are you single? Interesting. It's so cute to see you guys. Katy trip in August for not freezing. Okay, over here, I think it's freezing. I froze on YouTube. Thank you. I can't figure out. I freeze a lot on Zoom and stuff. I don't like it. So any of you are Zoom or Wi-Fi professionals. Roxanne, are you still with your man? See, look, I know all you guys. I'm all into this. I had to move to IG. Okay, thank you. You're like, I'm watching Katy on both. All right, dating with Katy trip. We're going to bring it up. Swag and merch. I'm telling you, I've had some friends request my, make dating fun again. My little swag stuff. Anyone? Should we do a dating with Katy trip and I bring swag and merch for all y'all? And then I want to talk about stupid things that singles say. I just posted a second ago about how when we are not celebrating with other people and their joy of relationships, babies, new careers, and maybe those are things that you wanted, how that literally is killing your game. That is killing your game. Okay, this bun is cute, but it's lopsided. And then I'm going to be talking about my new podcast coming up. It is How to Get an Alpha Male. So if you're an alpha male on here, I'd love for you to jump on with me. I would love for any of these things that you want to jump on. You guys got to send me it's a plus thing down here. And I'll have you on, but don't be a weirdo because then I'll just kick you off. So Jason's journeys. Okay, Jason, maybe that's what we should do. I've said it forever. Jason, are you on? Can you jump on with me? I tried to do a dating with Katy Italy trip. Jason just came back from Bali. I've been to Jason's house in Italy. My husband has met Jason. I met Jason on Bumble years and years ago. We'd never met until the day that my husband and I drove to Jason's house and I finally met Jason. So see, you totally can be friends with somebody you meet I never even dated Jason. We just met on Bumble one day and we stayed friends. So if any of you want to jump on, let me know. Anybody going on dates tonight? I know a lot of you are in dates. And so I want to share with you how Matchmaker Diaries, a lot of my clients they've been moving into relationships. They know what they want. Men, ladies, I'm gonna tell you this, men know what they want. They just know. I have a client, he's like, I know this is the woman I'm going to focus and I think I want to marry her, Katy. And I'm like, yes. Speaking of marriage, I'm going to have Austin. He was my very first Instagram IG live person. It was random, but now he's crushing it on Instagram. So I'm going to have Austin jump in and join us. Oh, this will be fun. It's like the old school. I'm sure he'll be dressed to the nines. I am not dressed to the nines. So obviously, okay, I am accepting you, but I don't know why it's not letting me. Give me 1 second. I'm going to send you a request. Okay, I just sent you a request too. And we did a little video together about pocket squares. Summer's coming. We got to get some summer style. I was just buying shoes with my husband, and I took a picture of white sneakers for guys. So Austin, I sent you a request too. I sent it. Let me know if you get it. I don't know. Me and tech. Somebody once said it's because my energy, probably. And then Anastasia, I need to text you because all my guys are in relationships right now. So there is no one to match you with. Anyone that would be a match for you. Okay, did you get that text, Austin? Anyways, if you don't already follow him, Gentleman's Avenue. He's actually here in Fort Worth. He's a great guy. To me, he's a kid. He's in his 20s. So he's like a kid to me. But what he knows about fashion, he just got married and he knew, and men know. So I have a client right now. He knows. He's like, I want to get married, Katy, and you brought me an amazing girl. And I brought him two, and I knew one was more his lane. And it's funny because I was like, yeah, I think this one's more your lane. And sometimes there's just women that both are amazing, but one is just more in your lane. You know, like she's already driving the same roads you're driving. So that's one client. Oh, hey, there he is. Look at it with the haircut. I love it. Wait, this is Casual Friday for you.
It is. We've got a sportswear trunk show, and so I just toned it down a little bit.
Yeah, that's a lot of it for you.
Oh,
but the mustache is making up for it.
It is. It is. There's still a little bit of suavity there. I don't know if that's a word, but I just coined it.
And I'm not sure every guy could pull that stash off, and I'm not sure every woman would love it, but I think you look fantastic in it. But one thing I do love on you right now is your aviators. Could you please just give a massive shout out to tell men to buy aviators? I think it's a classic man look, and it's great on women. What are your thoughts?
Well, if anyone's in the DFW, Tulsa, or Austin area, you need to check out Black Optical. They've got amazing stuff. And they've got more than aviators, but aviators are just classic. So everyone should get stuff like that.
Classic. It's just that easy style go-to. And you see these guys with the silk glasses that go around them. And I just even did a video, a reel about where do you put your glasses? Because on a date, one of the guys had his glasses on his head, and it's just like a no. It's
no.
You think these? I mean, tell men where to put their glasses.
Well. Through being married, I've become a bit more sensual in a good way, only for her and not for anyone else. Good. But if you're wearing a button up, if you put it right here, showing a little bit of like man cleavage,
little man hair,
there's something about it. Just a little man chest, show that chest.
Yeah.
But top pocket of my jacket. I think you should always wear a jacket, especially out on a date.
Okay, well, it's summer. It's getting hot. And you know, I agree. I love a man in a good blazer. By the way, I see you, Derek. I saw my buddy Derek on from LA. Tell men, like, what's a good summer blazer, summer colors that they should be wearing? What's the good fabric they should be looking for? Because most guys only have their dark blue blazer that Katy talks about, but they really need to be opening up their fashion sensibilities here.
So the biggest thing is cloth selection. So a high twist, loose weave. I'm going to talk a little bit about industry standards or like industry terms. So if you don't know, one, you should follow me. Two, you should become a client of me. And three, you should buy good clothes from me. So there we go.
And you ship. You do it. You don't have to live by you, by the way. I mean, this is all virtual now. And you get a box, you try it on, you ship it back. It's all included. Yeah. So keep going.
Yeah. So we always recommend either like cotton, linen, fresco. I always think wool is king, but you can do a lightweight wool that is what's called high twist and loose weave. So a high twist is going to kick the wrinkles out because if it's a lighter cloth, it's not going to be as wrinkle resistant.
Right.
But if it's loosely woven, it's going to be really breathable. Linen, seersucker is cool.
Seersucker, love it.
A lightweight cotton, maybe, but those are some good options. Get it unlined, unconstructed, and just wear the heck out of it. And, you know, if it's got a little like, you know, if you think of seersucker, I was actually watching videos on the history of seersucker. But if you get something like that, there's charm in wearing it like white shirt, open collar, simple pocket square, easy. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Well,
men don't want to be complicated in the way that they dress. It can be easy.
Yes, it can be. And I'm going to the Kentucky Derby. So when you say seersucker, I think Kentucky Derby. And I love it when I see a man in kind of a fun, funky outfit, but you got to pull it off. And you pull it off by keeping everything simple with that one little piece of flair. Otherwise, you look too fruity. I've had a client, he sent me a picture in a white vest. He went to the ballet with this hot looking woman and he was wearing a white zipper puffer vest. I was like, you look fruity. This is not a good look. Okay, so let's move quick to this one though. You are newly married. Tell us quick about that because you knew when you met her and you were like on it.
I knew pretty quick. She knew about 3 dates in and I knew probably a month or so in. Okay. I don't know if you can see it, but if you can see those words right there, I literally still have the sticker that says just married up.
Oh, I see the J.
I'm proud to be married. But also, it's part like I just forgot to take it off. And now people keep asking, like, oh, congratulations. How long have you been married? And I'm like 6 months. And they're like, and you still have the just married? So now I want to like keep it on until like our number one anniversary. So anyway,
cute. That's like biblical, right? The Bible says you enjoy your wife for a year.
Oh, right? I think you should enjoy her all the time.
Well, you should, but you're supposed to take the first year off. But anyways.
So my story is we met on a Christian dating app. We I had just gotten out of a relationship literally a week earlier.
Yeah.
And it's not that I was just trying to like jump in and like get women. It's like, I'm ready to be married and I want to find that right woman. The last one was not right for me. And I met her and really quick, it was just like, it all lined up and there was God's providence and it just worked out. So
yeah, you don't need to, I have a client and he knows he wants to be married. He's 40, ready to start it. And he meets this amazing girl that, again, she was in his lane. And, she says, well, Katy, my Bible study teacher, I'm miserable. She's miserable. Oh, good. We can be miserable together. So you've got to find your team who is super for you. And I was excited for you. And what's the one thing you've learned about women since you've been married?
Number one, that you'll never understand them.
Yeah, it's okay.
And that's not a dig, but you progress as a person. Some of the things you liked, you didn't like, and you see the good, bad, and the ugly, and the real ugly. I mean, we've gone like one day just laughing and crying from the funniest stuff and just finding joy through each other, and then like learning things about each other that is extremely tough and dark sometimes. But that's when you make those vows and you are continuing to choose that person and love them and say, hey, for better, for worse, for sickness and health. That is what this commitment, this covenant is about. And some people have different views on marriage, and I'm not going to comment on that. I'm only going to comment on my stance. But that was something that was for me, like there were things that I didn't realize. I'm like, man, I didn't know I was signing up for this. But you know what? You made that commitment and you're going to find a way to work through it.
Yeah.
I've also realized how selfish I can be, where when I was just living by myself, I'm like, all right, like if I mess up something, if I don't clean my house for a week or whatever, it's like, all right, that's me. I'm the only one living there, so I can deal with it. But now your actions immediately have consequences, sometimes good consequences and sometimes bad.
Yeah.
And you have to communicate. You have to be on the same page. So it's the little simple things that you're thinking, oh, it's got to be something so grand and it's got to be something. No, it's the little things.
Yeah.
And the last thing I wanted to say earlier, I remember calling my dad when I knew that she was the one that I wanted to marry. And I'm like, okay, when your dad says, when you know, son, and you're just going to know. And you're like, yeah, no, there's got to be something like, the heavens open and lights come down and it's got to be this whole thing. And it was just, after a while I went, I see this, I get it. This is what I want. And I remember calling my dad and he started breaking down and he goes, I've been waiting for this call my whole life. And he goes, it's about the same amount of time that you and her were dating was the same amount of time that I knew that I wanted to marry your mom. And there is something about if you know yourself, know what you want, you've gone through those experiences, you can communicate those to the person. Then you realize, oh, this is it. This is that person. And it's not perfect. I am in no way perfect. My wife will tell you that. And my wife is not perfect either. Right. But I don't expect her to be. I expect her to be the best version of herself. And she pulls that out of me. And I pull the best out of her.
Right. I love it. I love it. All like wisdom. It's none of this frou-frou, like she's the perfect woman. No, this romantic ideology of relationships. I mean, there's matchmakers and dating coaches all talking this junk. And I'm like, stop your manifesting lingo. He was my dream man. Well, you just broke up. Stop it. We're all imperfect people trying to do it better.
Yeah. The one thing I heard that really helped me through trying to find that right person is that the idea of finding that one person. And I heard this comedian saying, okay, so there's 7 billion people and your one person happens to be within a 30-mile radius of you and knows all your friends and everything. And you just happen to find them out of all the 7 billion people.
Right.
So really after that, the advice that I heard was there can be like 6 or 7 or 10 the ones. Now, what that means is that person can become that person for you. Yeah. It may be different, but it's you become the one. You aren't just the one. It's you become that. And a lot of it is trial and error, accepting when you're wrong, apologizing. I hate apologizing when I'm wrong. But I went, it's not worth me being right or being, vindicated. It's I want to be one and right with my wife because I'm one flesh with her.
Yep.
So it's more important to me than to win or do something that's okay. How can we compromise? I want to be right with you because I want to live with you in an understanding, loving way.
Amen. Amen. I mean, my husband, we teach this at our church. He's better at apology. He comes up and he's like, I'm so sorry for what I did. And he'll say, thank you for correcting me. You're helping me become stronger and better. You do call him out on something like, hey, babe, please don't put these dirty shoes here. It's silly, but it's still honorable to me for him not to do it. Yeah. he's like, babe, thanks for correcting me. You're just making me a better person. And so he says it all the time. And it's just, I love it. It's practical, it's applicable. And I mean, my last podcast was, stupid things that singles say. And you just said it. Basically, love is a choice. We choose it, and the one, there is no one that you choose the one every single day. You choose to become the one, you choose that one every single day. And, and then I've had guys say, well, she was the love of my life. I'm like, well, you're divorced now. So she's obviously not the love of your life. The thing is, every day we choose each other. We choose. So, well, congratulations. And yes, where can they find you? I know it's Gentleman's Avenue, correct? Is your IG?
It's Gentleman's Avenue. Come by and see us. But I've got clients all over the country too. Yeah. So
just like I can.
Yeah, I can take care of clients virtually and stuff like that. But if you're just looking for a great place to get some information, I wear some wacky stuff sometimes, but it's me. I want to help guys find their true style. So that's what I'm here for. Yeah. So glad to be able to help and talk to you a little bit more too. Love the information you were talking about, and we should definitely do another live sometime.
We should, and let's double date soon. I want to meet her.
That'd be fun.
All right.
Awesome.
All right. Drive safe. I love it. All right, you guys. Well, that's Austin. He is in the RIG Live. Random. It was in his bedroom. It was kind of messy, actually. So look at him now. He's doing fantastic. So yeah, he said a couple of things that I just want to bring up. Relationships are work, but they shouldn't be hard. So if you're in a hard relationship, it's probably because you didn't do the work. Okay, you weren't doing the work, which is the effort. And it's, he said it's the little things every day. If you watch the Gottmans are fantastic at reminding you it's the little things every day. So again, we choose, right? We choose. And I have to say this as a woman, I don't always like myself. I mean, sometimes I'm confused by my own emotions. And so women, that's where we really need to hold our own and begin to understand ourselves and look. I mean, after Easter, I was a little bit emotional. I realized because first Easter without my kids, first Easter without my aunts in the kitchen with me. And I was just kind of like, about it. And my husband, he contained me really well. Like he didn't get frustrated or yell at me when I was like, blah, 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 I had a beautiful Easter, but it wasn't what I remember Easter to be. So I was a little bit like sad and cranky and like talking through out loud. And he doesn't want to always hear me talking it out loud, but he was a good listening ear at that time. So, okay. So that was Austin. That was kind of a fun update. So a couple more of my clients, I have to tell you, one, he kind of had two women in the lineup. When you like two women and you're not sure which one to go for, what would be the one rule I always say? I'm curious if you guys know my rules. It's interesting. You can look on YouTube and, 7 things to know about if a woman likes you. I don't think you need to know 7 things. Maybe a kindergarten needs to know 7 things, but when you've graduated, all you need to know is this one thing. So my client has 2 women that he likes. What is the one rule that will help you decide between the 2 women? Because anybody guess what my rule is? I mean, I just keep it simple here, right? We don't need 17 rules for everything. I'll tell you that in a minute. So, he's trying to juggle the 2, waiting to see like who's going to, who's going to win. And he liked one because of her look more than the other. But we have to remember to start looking for character, guys. Character, I mean, and he's already 3 divorces in. And look was obviously what was getting him to each of these, the first 3 women he probably chose on look. And I won't let my clients choose on look. Of course, they have to be attracted to somebody. But sometimes the prettier person is not the one with the deeper character. Can we just say yes to that? So nobody wrote it out, or maybe they did. It's just not updating. But here's the deal, guys. And this is for men specifically. And ladies, yours is a little bit different. But if a woman is not mirroring your efforts, that's it. She's just not that into you. If she's really not making time and space, she's either dating with a limitation, and really you don't want to date her because she doesn't have time or space or money or availability. So if she is not mirroring your effort, and if your effort's minimal, all she should be doing is minimal. If your effort is like, hey, I would like to take you out this week. My nights are all free. I'm saving them all for you. Can you please let me know? And she doesn't get back to you. She ain't that into you. And so my client was kind of in between these 2 women, and I needed him to figure this out himself. So I was kind of, I'll say it to him like, hey, are they mirroring your efforts? And he needs to register it, because men, we know, we could say it 7 times to you, but it's not until you say it to yourself, you're like, oh, this is such a good idea. Like, come on, we all know that's true, right? We know that men kind of do that thing. So we just really need to make sure that I needed to make sure that my clients are really learning what I teach, because I want them to be successful in relationships. As a matter of fact, he recently was frustrated over some of the things of the one girl that he did pick. And he's like, well, she was dating other guys too, Katy. And I said, so what? You were dating other women. Like, stop this. This is the beginning of a relationship. It's going to be a little murky for both of you. So why are you judging her when you kind of were doing the same thing? Like, stop it. And then he's like, well, she dumped. He used the word dumped. You know, again, stupid things Cinqe say, well, she dumped me and blah, blah. I said, nobody dumps anybody. We're adults. We make decisions. Okay, we're not dumping people. This isn't junior high. Stop using these stupid terms because it makes you sound stupid. She made a decision. She chose this way, and then she came back. You did the same thing. So why are you being weird about it? You know, and he said he showed it to his therapist, and his therapist literally says, and I'm going to post this after, his therapist says, she's amazing. You should listen to her. As a matter of fact, you should date her. So I can tell you this, that a lot of my clients, I know my niche market, women who want my life, amazing man, great life, totally blessed. The guy adores me. And men who want to date women like me, who like their men, who aren't bitter, who are fit, fun, and feminine. I say this all the time. Go get fit, go be fun, get your healing done, and that's that. Okay, so moving on, a couple different clients. Oh, and then I wanted to share these two stories with you. So I have two clients, both coaching clients, not matchmaking, that have met two women, both named Katy, Katie, and both from Facebook dating. So if that's a little plug for Facebook dating, they can pay me later. But somehow I have two clients, one in Florida, one in Connecticut. Both of them met two amazing women named Katy from Facebook dating. So, hey, how many of you have tried Facebook dating? Anyone? I mean, it's weird, and they might ask you to buy Bitcoin or whatever, but I just wanted to share that. I thought that was cute. Okay, also, I have two new clients coming on. Ladies, get in the database or email me and say, I think I could be a possible match for your client. Okay, I just posted about them. One's San Francisco, wants to get married. One is Midwestern guy. He's open. He's a Christian though. So ladies, I know some of you are like, well, that's not a big deal. I'm not a Christian. It is a big deal. Okay, Christians have certain beliefs and value sets, and we call that being equally yoked. So, you know, maybe he's against abortion because God creates every person to be a person. And you're like, well, I'm fine with it. And so he just can't date someone. It's just not an equal yoke. So I'm not, oh, you're okay. I'm Katy, and I'm going to log on to Facebook dating right now. Okay, Katy, you have to give me an update later. Forks and florals. How cute is that? Do you do like parties? I mean, we need to talk, Katy. So Katie's with an IE are a little different than Katie's with a Y. A little bit, just, but we're still all amazing. But so remember, if I don't choose you, there could be another client, or we have 7 matchmakers. So any of the matchmakers in our database can choose you. Also, I just want to make this clear. If I text you, you will get my personal phone number. I will say, hey, this is Katy from Cinqe Matchmaking. I saw you in the database. Do not be weird, and do not think it's weird because you put your phone number in there and I have your phone number. Women are like, who is this? Are you making me vote for somebody? Please know and respond back thoughtfully and just say, oh, great. You know, I had a woman the other day. She's like, this was weird. I thought you were weird. I'm like, girl, you're weird. Like, you gave me your phone number. I'm going to read. So, all right, let's talk about, we talked about dating with Katy trip. Anyone for the dating with Katy trip? Dating with Katy trip. I did it a couple years ago before I was married. I could bring my husband this time. All good. It's usually at an all-inclusive in Mexico, Puerto Rico. I don't know where we would do it, but it's just you come and I'm there. And so that's kind of how I did it. We all had dinners together. We all hung out together, but at the same time, you can go do whatever you want. So let me know if you're interested. DM me and just be like, yeah, that sounds cool. I'd be interested. I might promote it and see if there's really an interest because it's still kind of a lot of work for me to plan. All right. Well, let's talk about some stupid things that people say in dating. And I love how Austin was like, it's ridiculous to think that I'm going to go in and have a fairy tale. We can't have fairy tales in weddings, you guys, in marriages, you guys. It's 80% reality, 20% romance. And that's a lot of romance, actually. So, I mean, honestly, even Dr. Phil talks about the 70-30. It's 70% you should like about your partner and 30% you don't. I like that 80-20 better. It's 80% you should really like your partner and 20% bugs you about them. Either bugs you or you're hoping that they grow and they have a growth mindset. Hopefully you have the growth mindset too. So I think that's important. But I just wanted to bring this up because there's another matchmaker. Well, she's not a matchmaker. She's a dating expert. Okay, I don't even call myself a dating expert. I'm a dating coach. And just like a coach puts you on drills, makes you work out, makes you sweat, sometimes you don't want to do what the coach says. That's my job, is to coach you. Okay. Am I an expert? Absolutely, because I'm doing it right. I don't believe anybody's an expert until they're living, studied it. It's people who've done it, is kind of how I see that. So even with that being said, I still believe I'm a dating coach. I'm here to help you, but I want to move you into relationships. And now I'm in a relationship and it's amazing. And so eventually I'll be moving into like relationship coaching. But what she was saying is, she's in her late 30s, and late 30s, ladies, you got to be on it. Never give a man more than 10 months. I believe 10 months is a space where you either say, hey, look, are we going somewhere? I want to get married to you. If he doesn't bring it up and if he's not ready to move by a year, you move on. So ladies, I just gave you free advice. You give him no more than 10 months if he has not brought it up. And then he's not that into you. He's just not, because you just heard Austin say, when men know, they know. They know. And I'll tell you what, men are probably a little bit better at wanting to fight through and work it out and stick around. And women are the ones bailing these days. But sometimes it's because the men don't want to grow and change. So that's relationship stuff over here. But so this dating expert continues to say, like, I had to break up with this, and she called him, this is the word she said, I had to break up with the man of my dreams. Okay. The man of your dreams is in your head. Okay. It's while you sleep. That's the stupidest thing to say about anybody. There is nobody who is dreamy and perfect. We have to stop saying these things, because what she basically did, she set herself up. Well, she set him up for failure, and she set herself up for total like meltdown, right? No man. And I don't hear this from men. Men are like, oh, I've heard it from some men. Oh, she was the woman of my dreams. Or guys will say this one, she was the love of my life, but she's my ex-wife. Okay, then she wasn't the love of your life because you didn't do life with her. If she passed away, one thing, but if she divorced you, no, she wasn't the love of your life. So don't say it, because you're going to say it to a woman on a date. Well, my ex-wife was the love of my life. And you're like, then this woman's like, well, I'm out. You got to be careful in saying these terms, because they're setting you up for failure and you're repeating them in your mind. And so this is what you believe. This is what you expect. And all these manifestors, like, I'm going to manifest. No, you're not. If you keep talking like that, you're just not. If you say things like, I'm going to meet a great guy who's got good morals, is working on himself, and I'm going to be that person, then that already is a bigger win than saying, I'm looking for the man of my dreams. Even the other day, when one of my clients was like, Katy, well, I'm hoping to find the one. I said, stop it. There is no one. I like stop people now when they are saying this, because it's becoming a habit. I mean, what other terminologies? I just did ask on Instagram, like other terminologies that people are saying that are just not smart. And you're going to live your life either by design or by default. So by default is like the restating of things that are constantly not working for you anyway. So you've got to say things by design. Sit down and write out your standards list. I'm looking for a man who has a work ethic, who, values family and will, is looking to spend weekends or just whatever it is. Like, I'm already there. So I'm kind of like moving on to relationship deep stuff, but you've got to do the work to figure that out. Now, I want to say too, is anybody want to jump on and do a little Q&A with me? I'm happy to have somebody on if you're not a weirdo. And just like, if you have like, Katy, this is my situation. I do have a situation that I'm going to read if nobody wants to jump in. So that was last 2 weeks ago podcast. Go listen to it. You might be saying these things and you are creating, you're making it a little bit harder for yourself to succeed because you are saying these things. So please go listen. My podcast for 15 minutes. Next week on Tuesday, I think they show up, is how to get an alpha male. So you ladies, this is what I hear all the time. And if there's any alpha males on here right now, please, can you jump on and just join me in this discussion, like alpha male? Because if you follow me long enough, I believe in two kinds of alpha males. There's the alpha asshole and the alpha awesome. And I use those to kind of give you a visual, because, the alpha a-hole is Mr. Gregarious, charming, charismatic. He's so great. But you have to remember, ladies, he's charming, charismatic, and that way with everybody, including other women, especially when he's in first class, and especially when he is big dog. Especially, you have to understand, these men have a lot of options. So if you think you're gonna just buckle one down, good luck. So I talk about that, but then I talk about the alpha awesome. That's actually podcast 3, the 3 kinds of men. But in this one, I talk about the characteristics that alpha males are looking for. And I've dated a lot of successful men. And just because they're successful doesn't mean they're generous. So remember that. And success doesn't always mean by money either. I mean, I knew a guy, he was a teacher. He was an AP environmental science teacher. He loved what he did. All of his students passed the AP exam. Like, that's success. He didn't want to do anything more in life. He loved working with kids and being a teacher. And he had the highest degree possible so he could be a teacher, and it's what he loved. So, is he making millions of dollars a year? No, but he's happy, because you can be making lots of money and very unhappy and doing shady stuff and not be a good man. So remember those things, ladies. Okay. So you're going to want to listen to that podcast. Coming up is how to get an alpha male. All right. Well, I wanted to read to you. So nobody to jump on the Q&A. Come on now. Free advice. I'm going to have my own radio show one day. Just watch. Anybody remember Dr. Laura? Well, I'm going to be like Dr. Laura meets Dr. Ruth meets Joyce Myers. I'm just prophetically saying that. Okay. Y'all call it manifesting. I say prophetically saying it. All right. So this is from a woman who I know personally. She did a little study with me, a Zoom study. It's so interesting. I don't look tired on YouTube, but I look a little tired on Instagram. All right. I want to read this to you. And, I think she's got a couple things we're going to talk about. She says, Katy, during our second date, we'll call him Mark. Mark drove a considerable distance to see me, which was a kind gesture. However, there were some uncomfortable instances, such as his insistence on certain gestures and the discussion about intimacy. While he claims to respect my boundaries regarding physical intimacy until marriage, his repeated mentions of desire and attraction gives me pause. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. Okay, so I'm going to read it again. While he claims to respect my boundaries, right there. Men are talk, ladies. Talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. We've heard this. We know this. Your gut is telling you he's doing this, but he's not showing it. Right there. Okay. And then while he claims to respect my boundaries regarding physical intimacy, now this is date number 2, until marriage. She said it. Until marriage. I know you guys think that's crazy. A lot of you do. As a matter of fact, Austin, who was just on, he waited until marriage. So the point is, she's a young girl. She wants to wait till marriage. It's very important to her. And she's already said this by date 2. And although he claims, to respect her boundaries, she says his repeated mentions of desire and attraction gives me pause. All right. So it doesn't sound like he's doing anything. I mean, she just says his mentions of, right? So he's speaking to it. And yes, men desire and are attracted to you. Okay, ladies, you need to understand the mind of a man. They're highly sexual. They are attracted to you. That's why he's going out. But here's the deal. He's going out with you either one, to get you in bed, or to keep you and to make you his woman. So ladies, this is where you decide your fate. Either you give the cookies or you don't. And I'll tell you what, you've got more opportunity when you don't give the cookies to find a better man than when you're giving out the cookies. Steve Harvey says, don't give out the cookies. Ladies, it's your cookie. You can give it to anybody you want. Stop giving it out, because it makes men into boys. And then we got a bunch of boys running around who are doing things like this, who are disrespecting vocally and not honoring her requests. And so right there, I think he's already acting like a boy, a mature man, a good man, but likely the guy doesn't believe her. It doesn't matter what the guy believes. It doesn't matter. He doesn't have any access. Here's the ultimate. And I had to tell my client this the other day, because he says, well, Katy, one of the girls wouldn't fool around with me because, and most of my clients are Christians, but not all of them. And either way, I would say this exact same thing I'm going to say. He says to me, my client, well, Katy was fooling around, and then she stopped and she said, I don't want to fool around with you until we're committed. Okay. And he goes, I don't understand that. This is my client here. And I said, why should she give you her body when you haven't even claimed her heart? So I don't care what you think. You just said if she is a virgin, fine, but likely the guy doesn't believe her. I don't care what this guy believes. That's not his business. His business is to honor her and to respect her. And so whether you believe somebody or not, either you're going to respect them or you're not. And that's on you. That's your behavior. And so this man is being disrespectful. And although men are horny and men want to do things and men just want to, You just get it out. It doesn't matter. You still respect and honor a woman by her words. Now, I'm not saying every woman should be wearing tiny clothes and this whole like get you there and then stop you. But no, it's also this date. She made it clear, like, so don't date me. If you want to have sex before marriage or whatever, don't date me. So he obviously already knows this, and men will do this, and women do this too. They try to get you in bed to get you. What men do it to just have sex with you because they just want to have sex because they're horny. Women do it to lock you down. Am I right? How many of you think women try to get you in bed because they want to lock you down? They think, like, especially with a good guy, and I've seen this, good men are like, why, like all these women who throw their bodies at me is so disgusting, Katy. Like, good men hate it because they know it's a ploy. And it also says if she does this to me, she does this to everybody. Now, funny, if men do it, women don't think that the men are some floozy. But at the same time, if men are doing it just to get in your pants, they're just trying to get in your pants, So good luck with that. So yeah, I already don't like this guy. He's disrespecting her. It's like second date, boom, be done. Send him the text. My text. Like, hey, I thought we could have been a good fit. This just isn't working out. Wish you the best of luck. Done. 0 done. You owe him nothing else. It was 2 dates. I don't care if he drove 25 hours. Ladies, you never owe a man anything. And guys, if you think, well, she owes me, I drove this far, you need to not follow me because that is not my people. You're not my people. My people know how to have, character qualities and standards and how to date properly. Okay. Additionally, he has expressed reservations about cultural differences. She was a Black woman and seems uncertain about committing fully to our relationship, which has led me to the question of his intentions and readiness to let go of other dating options. Okay. First off, they're on a second date. That's a lot to expect on a second date. So right now I'm on team guy because one, if he doesn't want to date Black girls, I don't know what the cultural part means, then I don't know, maybe he shouldn't be dating Black girls. But committing fully to our relationship, you're on a second date. Nobody should be committing to anything on a second date, right? Hey, Katy, I'm married, but I wouldn't mind jumping on the live. Steve, we'll take married. As long as you're married, we'll happily, I'm hoping. So let's see. So Steve, you need to request it because I can request you, but I have way more yous than I do you. I can find you. Let's see, Steve. Here we go. Remove. Go live. All right, Steve, I'm going to ask you to pop on. Maybe you can give us some mind of a man dating advice. Here we go.
Hey, Katy, how's it going?
Good. We've never met before, have we?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for jumping on the live. How long have you been following Dating with Katy? I want to see how much you know. I might have a quiz.
Definitely been over a year. I want to say, because I'm an entrepreneur, so I always like to listen to podcasts and stuff. It kind of helps me get through my day. And just because I'm already married, I didn't look at it like, the journey's over. I look at it just getting started. So I always like to, get good advice and stuff like that. So I definitely appreciate your content.
Love it. So tell us about marriage. I mean, let's go back a little bit because I've been talking about how men know, right? And then Austin jumped on and he knew. I got some clients, they just kind of know that they either want to invest or they want to marry these women. How did you know when you met your woman?
Wow, so great question. So this year coming up is going to be our 7th wedding anniversary. And when I got married, I was 28.
Okay.
So at that point, we had already, we kind of started dating. I think I was a college freshman. My wife were the same age, but she was a year behind me because of her birthday. So it was her senior year of high school. I was a college freshman, and we were dating for a while. So, if you're doing the math, we were dating for 10 years before we got married. So a lot of people, when they hear that, they think, oh, what were you waiting for? And it took so long, so on and so forth. But the reality is we thought of each other as quality partners. So we said, we're going to get into a relationship, but marriage was the goal. But obviously with being in college, you have all of the other bills and stuff associated with that. We didn't feel like we had to just do it just because a certain amount of years had passed. We wanted to make sure it was the right point in our lives.
Okay. So financially, you were just, did you guys live together before or did you still stay separate and kind of do some still single, solo fun things?
More the second. We didn't live together until we were out of college and probably like 22, 23.
Okay.
Somewhere.
So do you think living together helped you realize that you want to get married, or do you think living together, I'm not a big proponent of living together. I see the financial benefits of it, but at the same time, they say people who live together actually have a higher divorce rate than people who just live together after marriage. What do you think it helped you with, and what do you think could maybe be a negative of living together before marriage?
Well, I'll start with the negatives, right? So this doesn't apply to me, but I'm a guy, so I know how guys think. So the thing is, the negative could be if you're already living together in the guy's mind, the structure of the relationship is there without a title, so they have the ability to get complacent and figure if you're already mine, we're already together. It's kind of like I already got the prize. So
Right.
like, what am I towards? So I could see how that could be a negative, although that's not how I approached it. I would say to me though, the positive about it is I am a believer. You know, I believe in God, and that's besides that people, you know, kind of build and there's smoke and mirrors because of social media and stuff like that.
I'd agree.
When you live with somebody, you actually get to know them. And then one of the benefits of it that I saw with my wife is that it just kind of worked out perfectly. But the chores that I enjoyed doing or didn't mind were things that she didn't like and vice versa. So it kind of worked together really smoothly where, hey, like, you know, just to give you a quick example, like when we first got together, you know, we both like to cook. We both can cook, but she does most of the cooking. And I'm a kind of person, I hate washing dishes. So I don't like to make a bunch of dishes. So
but you could have fit after marriage, you know, I mean, still biblically, here's the rules with biblical knowledge is that there's blessings and consequences. You do what God says, there's a blessing. You don't because you think, well, we're just going to kind of rearrange. I mean, my husband and I had sex before. And then finally 6 months before we got married, I said, I'm done playing house. I'm done pretending that we're married. And I knew in my heart of hearts that I was going against God's best for me. And I said that to him. And we stopped having sex until we got married. And it was hard. It was the hardest 6 months of our relationship because we didn't have the physical, but it was good because we had to go through and do it God's way. But I mean, I still can't agree with being married. I mean, I don't know if you saw this. I just posted a reel and it's this old guy and he's talking about how, you know, living together is like the food truck, right? You're going to buy a kebab. You could buy it from the food truck or you could buy it from the house or the restaurant. Well, the food truck, if it gets you sick, it can drive away, right? It can bail. And I think sometimes with living together, especially as the world says it, we're trying each other out. There's still a little bit of that underlying, like, I could bail on you. I could bail on you. Where in marriage, and this is the goal as a believer, is that you stay even when it's hard. You stay when it's hard because it's going to get hard. I mean, have you had any, I mean, you guys have been together a long time. You said 7 years married, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. So in those 7 years of marriage, has it ever been hard? And I know marriages work and it sounds like you're doing the work and you're doing the growth, but in the 7 years, has there been a moment where you're like, man, this is hard. This woman is hard, or like, what was that moment? And what did you do to kind of combat the negativity or like wanting to just bail?
Great question. I think what it always comes down to is we had the same goal. So it wasn't about the distractions. It was more so about, okay, the difficulty comes, right? You know, Myron Golden is another person I find. I really like his content. And one thing he talks about is disruption follows intention. So when you're intentional about something and it's a worthwhile goal and you're working towards it, it's not even the fact of if, it's a matter of when. Adversity is going to strike. You're going to have to work through it, but that's what the FU part is about. So when you're serious about that and you're looking at solutions and you're not trying to go at each other, you're like together through this journey, you know, it can always work out.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, how old are you?
I'll be 35 in May.
Okay, I didn't do the math. Sorry, I don't do math.
That's not good.
I was like, I don't know. He's somewhere up there. I mean, it's so nice. I mean, that is a high level of EQ, all the things that you're saying. And who was it that you said you also follow?
His name's Myron Golden.
Myron Golden. I mean, and I got a question for you. Now, do you have, I believe, I'm a big believer and I seen a game changer for my husband. He goes to this group called Mighty Men at our church. It's like 300 guys at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning, all rolling out of bed, doing, you know, they're not choosing golf. They're not, you know, they're getting up early enough to not miss the kids' sports games at 9. But this group is amazing. And I've really seen it, you know, do great things for my husband. Friendships. It's hard for men to have friends and really talk about porn and talk about, you know, their wives and how to be better husbands and men. I mean, are you in something like that? I'm curious.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I am. So one of my good friends, he was kind of the one who introduced me to it. So it's based around the book. The book is called Every Man a Warrior. And it's not just one book. I want to say there's 4 altogether. I'm not quite through the full series.
Okay.
I'm in the middle. too. But basically every book, well, first of all, it's about the concept of every man literally being a warrior and, just not on the physical plane, but more so on the spiritual. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a guide to say like, hey, there's different situations that are going to, arise in life as a man, right? So here's a book that has kind of certain areas covered. And then it's like book one's kind of the introductory. Right now we're on book 2, which is about, finances, marriage, difficult marriage, stuff like that, raising children. So, it's something I've been doing since about, we started, I want to say in like late August or September. And we got through the first book. Like I said, we're midway through book 2.
Are you doing that at a church group? Or are you doing this with buddies? Like how did you find these guys?
So it is a church group. So the book, like I said, it's just called Every Man a Warrior. Okay. And the book, you can read it on your own, but it's not really designed for that. It's more designed to at least be with one other person. Yeah. In a group setting. That way you can kind of balance ideas. You can kind of get like spiritual insight, and then you answer questions, not like a test, like right or wrong, but more so just insight. So it's always great to have other people to feed ideas to, or just get feedback, because some of the stuff unfortunately hits home more for one person than the other. Right. So if somebody's literally going through something and maybe you're trying to avoid it, or you're saying this is something that's inevitable, give us some great advice. I think the group setting works best for that series.
I love it. I mean, I'm a big believer that men need to learn from men. I mean, we could be yapping at you guys all day. But I mean, my pastor will say things on Sunday morning. My husband's like, you say that. I'm like, yeah, go figure. And he's like, it's good. I'm like, yes, it was good when I said it too, but I love men helping men. I think that's great. So my husband and I did these little Q&A cards last night by our fire pit. And it was a good question. It was name or tell me about one of the couples that you admire the most, and what do you admire about them?
Wow. It's funny you said it, because I had to just discuss this recently, and they're no longer alive, but it was my grandparents. So my grandparents, they were born in the 1920s, and they were married over 50 years. My grandmother, she passed in 96. And my grandfather, he passed, it was a decade ago, 2014. But the nice thing about that was I didn't have to look to celebrities. I didn't have to look to, somebody that was outside of my circle for a great example. They were right there, and they were the foundation. So that was something I always, had as a goal to say, one, I do want to get married, because, some of my friends and people that know me were like, oh, you got married. They thought it was like surprising. It was like, well, one, it was always a goal. And two, just because, I've dated in the past, or I was single and people thought I was living my best life, that wasn't necessarily like fulfilling. It was just like, it is, you're young, you go through it. But I always had that example, and I always saw that. So to me, that was always like the highest level of achievement. And I spoke about that at my grandfather's funeral, because, it was tough. A lot of people didn't want to speak, but I was like, what? I'm going to be the one to speak. And there's certain things that I think, is part of his legacy that I definitely want to highlight.
Legacy, that's a great word. I think there's more to life than just living your best life. Like, we've got to think about the legacy to our children. And, divorce changes that legacy, and it challenges it. I still believe my kids are going to be amazing people and through all of this. But leaving a legacy, not only of finances, of course, obviously we want that to trickle down. I mean, I'm a believer in that. But leaving a legacy of what love looks like, godly love, which is not what the world is showing us. So I don't even know if there's a single couple, maybe one or two couples in Hollywood that I would ever. I mean, Pierce Brosnan seems to love his wife, and they look amazing, but that's about it. So I love. Did your grandparents have a little nickname or anything for each other? I'm just curious.
As far as I know, they didn't have nicknames, but one thing that I know that my grandfather did, and I knew this is because, one, he told me, but then I saw it, and then I kind of could see like my grandmother's reaction to it, which was, he wasn't what you consider to be the quote unquote most romantic guy. He definitely had more of like the alpha personality, and by example, and sometimes tough love to, my dad and my uncles and stuff like that. But what he would always do, and he told me, her birthday, their anniversary, I think maybe Valentine's Day and Christmas, because my grandma's birthday was beginning of December, and then Christmas at the end of the month. But it was probably like a good 3-4 times a year. He would like write her like a poem, or they always were really, they pick out like the best cards and stuff. So it would always be something to that effect, where he's basically displaying, and not just like quote unquote showing like he would do like 99% of the time, but just literally telling her, this is how I feel about you. This is why I love you. Here's to another great year or happy birthday.
Right.
So one of the things that I know that he did, and like I said, I was young, but I could even see like the reaction in her face. Because sometimes it would be like the card is like under the breakfast plate and then she's eating and then she sees it and then she starts to read it. You know, it was that kind of a thing.
Yep. Cards and meaningful words, exchanges of words, even written down matter. Somebody said this the other day. I thought this was a good one. We'll finish with this. Is that, okay, so you always buy a card that you love the words in, right? You read it and you're like, oh, that's everything I want to say. And then sometimes you just write love mom or love Katy or, so the card basically says what you wanted to say. Well, as in write it in the other card. So actually, if you like the wording from this card, buy a different card and write the wording from this card. So you're a win at both. So it looks like you still wrote something personal, although you just stole the idea. It's kind of like before AI, you could just steal that idea. Yeah. I actually think it's a great idea. I might start doing that. But you know what? I think it's about celebrating each other. And let's be honest, it's a good hack, huh? But women, I want to be celebrated. I do believe we are all here for a purpose and we should be celebrating. Why wait till someone passes to celebrate them, right? Let's celebrate each other every day. And now with communication, text, gifts. I mean, there's Giphies or whatever they're called. There's so many ways to just like kind of put love into someone's day that you're dating or that you are married to. Well, congratulations on 7 years. Thanks for jumping on. I absolutely love just
before, and I think you've liked a couple of my comments, but like I said, I definitely appreciate your content, and it's needed out here for sure. And one thing I can say I like about you, aside from the biblically based stuff, because I think that's very important. We see how society has shifted, trying to go away from that truth. But I like the fact that, like you said, sometimes as a woman, they have to hear it coming from women, but you preach accountability. Because if I had to say one thing, that is always I love my wife for a bunch of different reasons, but I would say above everything else, the number one reason I chose her is because I thought she was a good example of a great woman and somebody that could be complimentary in my life, but she didn't shy away from accountability. And I feel like that is kind of like the Achilles heel of dating right now, or just in general. No offense, more so on the women's side. So the fact that you're preaching that and you're not a yes woman and you're actually giving them some good game, please keep doing that. It's needed for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we as women are doing wrong in relationships, in our own confidence, in how we treat men. It's not winning for us, and you see it. I see more and more single women just shooting themselves in the foot by what they're saying about themselves, what they're saying about men, and I'm like, girl, bring it down. Like, it's you, it's not him. So I do try to keep both sides accountable because we can only change ourselves. That's it. So
words have meaning, and people have to definitely be careful of what they speak on themselves, and this is something maybe you can appreciate as a believer. It talks about the meaning of God's name, and it says that I am. So when you put I in front of a sentence and then you do something, say something, even if it might not be true, you're making it true by putting that power behind it. So you always want to be mindful of negative things and just not speaking certain attributes and situations on yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, there's power of the tongue. So simple. I mean, we have a sword right here that we can kill or we can promote things. And so, well, thank you for joining on. We're going to close up today. So if you don't mind, I think you have to close out. I'm not even sure how to do this. I think you have to go in there and log out or whatever. Well, blessings to you and your wife. I hope you go get her a card for no reason this week. No reason at all. That's the best.
I'm pretty So she always wants me to like draw her a small little picture of paint or something. So I might have to get on that.
You might actually, I'm gonna hold you accountable to that. So, all right, you guys. Well, thanks for joining this live, and blessings to you and to all you singles out there. Remember, I want you to get confident, be successful, and have some fun dating. He's absolutely right. I love your objective. Yes, I'm on both sides here. I'm just always trying to help, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. All right, you guys, if there's anything else, I think this was a great one. It was fun to have some people on. I'm always happy. Thank you. I'm always happy to have you. Like, DM me or email me. Email me is the best, you guys. datingwithkaty@gmail.com. If you want to jump on, I'm going to start changing my podcast to be literally one-on-ones with people so I can get a bigger scope of how to help you guys, not with just me and all my opinions. All right, happy Friday. I got date night with hubby tonight, so we will see you. Blessings. Bye. Well, that was awesome.